Hey gang, welcome to the corner. We have a deck called Planeswalker Proliferant. Or Proliferant Planeswalker, one way or the other. I had to choose that name because any other name and I would have run out of characters. Let's go get an island. To start us off, I released a deck a little bit ago, not too long ago, called Saga Proliferation. And it was a good deck. It had some proliferation spells from Phyrexia. It had some enchantment sagas we could speed up. It had some planeswalkers we could proliferate and stick some more loyalty counters on. Did pretty well. Let's see. I guess we put down Reckoner Bankbuster and Talking. And so it turned out to be a pretty fun deck. But I thought it would be fun. Hello. They were ready for that. I thought it would be fun if I could go ahead and just do proliferation spells with planeswalkers.
Those who get in my way tend to regret it. Haven't you ever heard of personal space?
The first time I tried to take this deck out, well, not the first time, but the first time I thought I was done playtesting, it gave me a mirror match. And my opponent had, I think, 4 copies of Ickermoon Gauntlet, and they had a Reckoner Bankbuster. That was the one thing I didn't have. Let's see, Ward 2. So if I throw this up now, and if I play that now, I can't pay the ward cost. So what happens if we have them discard a card?
You won't be outsmarting me.
Adaptive Spore Singer. Okay. And then we equip the Planeswalker. And then we go ahead and play Ickermoon Gauntlet. No attacks. It's got another Spore Singer. So that's gonna hurt. No blocks. Down to 9 already. That can be an instant, so let's save that. Everybody discard a card.
I'm tired of your secrets.
Titan of Industry. Nice. No attacks. Let's make that fizzle. Target a permanent. That's for the gauntlet, so we're going to increase the Liliana. Make her a 4/4. Auto pay. Throw you back up. And they can just play it again. Liliana goes to 5 because of the proliferation from Serum Snare. I have to play this one a little more slowly. I quit Magic for about 20 years, so Proliferate is not one that I'm used to playing. And why did it... Oh, because it wanted me to be able to use the Field of Ruin? He can make that fizzle, though. I shouldn't have done that. I guess I should have manually tapped, because I wanted to be able to put down Jace this turn. Let's just go ahead and attack. Attack of the Planeswalkers. Oh, this is kind of nice. Consuming time. No, shoot, I did that wrong. Oh well. We'll target Liliana. We'll keep Liliana on the field. I forgot I'm going to lose Luxior too if I choose Liliana, so she's not going to be able to attack. Yeah, we'll keep Liliana. Everybody else gets thrown back up. Then we can go ahead and put you down. And player sacrifices a creature.
Ah, one of your friends has to leave.
Now you can put down another creature if you want. Sacrifice another creature, please. That gets around the ward cost. Yeah, nice.
Off you go.
Now I just equip you though, so you can't be a target. And no attacks. And now I'm back to my problem with the Hexbane Tortoise. And he's got a lot of these card draw cards. The Autonomous Firmness and Hunter's Maze from Phyrexia. He can start digging through his deck now. And he does. Oh, that's perfect. I want to get rid of the 4. There we go. I'm going to get rid of you. We want to go ahead and use the gauntlet to give you an extra counter. And we get double. And then we just get to attack. And we proliferate from Bird. So Liliana goes and gets another one. And then we can tell him to sacrifice another creature.
I've always hated crowds.
And unless they can put down 2 creatures a turn, we can proliferate enough with what we've got that we can always afford to make them sacrifice a creature. They need haste, really. Ah, there we go. You got me now. Alright, Jace finally comes down. Target a permanent. I don't think it matters, does it? We don't really have anything to proliferate there.
Phyrexia showed me the truth. Flesh
You
with
get
all the organic
lose
minds
that.
are easily quelled.
You get to come here. And I get to attack with Strumming Bird and increase my proliferation. And how much do we need? We need 13 for Jace? Do I really need to worry about milling him out, or can I just attack?
Become subdued.
He doesn't block. Why did they not block? What trick do they have up their sleeve? They have Alana and Elena. They plus up the Spore Singer. Not gonna work. They can chump block here if they want. Fine with that. I'm gonna do -3 to you.
Our
turn.
plans are beyond your comprehension.
Technically, it would have been a better play if I'd done the +1 to Lana first. We're gonna double a spell. Let's counter that one. And now we can just mill him. What are they at? 35? So we'll do all of it?
Surrender every last thought to Phyrexia.
Okay. Luxior came out. We used Luxior. We managed to mill him. Not a bad first outing. A little slow, and that may be partly my fault. They seem to take their time too. I already have 4 Tavern Swindlers. Let's go ahead and show you the entire deck. I think this is a thinking person's deck. So Planeswalker Proliferant. And here's what we got. Since we have so many Planeswalkers, I have 1 copy of Luxior, Giada's Gift. This is a mythic rare from New Capenna, Streets of New Capenna. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. So if somebody like Kato has 3 loyalty counters, it's going to get a +3/+3, and that'll be its power and its toughness. Suddenly, it's not a Planeswalker, it's a creature in addition to all other types, so we're basically sort of like turning anyone we want into a Gideon Planeswalker. And it's cheaper to equip the Planeswalker, so we only need to pay 1. However, if we do have a case where we have other counters on a creature, we could pay to equip it for 3 and just plus up that creature. We've got 1 drop, Whisper of the Dross. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn and Proliferate. And so this is just for a pesky 1/1 that we don't want to see hang around. We do have a way to get poison, so we've got Experimental Augury, 4 copies of that. Look at the top 3 cards of the library. We get to keep 1 and Proliferate. The Proliferate does 2 things, basically. 3. It does 3 things. It proliferates poison, it proliferates loyalty counters, and if we do get the Reckoner Bankbuster down, it'll proliferate the charge counter on the Bankbuster. I have 61 cards. The Reckoner Bankbuster is my card number 61. I think it's okay to go to 61 here because we get to spend 2 mana to draw a card 3 times. So even if we only get to do it once and then it gets destroyed, it's already paid for itself, basically. So I'm not too upset about going to 61 cards just because I had a mirror match and they had this card and I did not. And I think it may have made the difference. Here we have 3 Serum Snares to return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. We could use this to save our stuff or to get rid of a token, perhaps, for the opponent. 2 Thrumming Birds. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we proliferate as well. 1 Essence Capture to counter a target spell, and this will give us a +1 counter on a creature if we have one down. 1 Drown in Ichor. May be related in some way to Whisper of the Dross, a more powerful card. Instead of -1/1, it's -4/4 and Proliferate. Scheming Aspirant. Whenever you proliferate, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Venser Corpse Puppet is I think my only other source of lifelink in this deck. It's got Toxic 1, so here's one of the sources of our poison counters. If we do proliferate and we don't already have the Hollow Sentinel, we get to create the Hollow Sentinel, which you see pictured to the right. It's an artifact creature, Phyrexian Golem. And then we can choose another thing. Target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink until end of turn. So if we don't have the Hollow Sentinel, we can get it, and then we can start making it fly. I've got 2 Voidwing hybrids, flying and toxic 1. When you proliferate, return Voidwing hybrid from your graveyard to your hand. So returning threat with evasion is kind of cool. For the 3-drops, 2 copies of Ickermoon Gauntlet. Planeswalkers have extra abilities. They can just proliferate for a turn. Or if they get up to 12 loyalty, they can take an extra turn. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you choose a counter on target permanent and put an additional counter of that kind on that permanent. So this doesn't proliferate for everybody. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you have to choose a counter on one particular permanent. So we could give an extra charge counter on the Bankbuster, take a +1 on a creature and give it another +1, or plus up a Planeswalker. For creature control, 2 Mesmerizing Dose to tap them down, then proliferate, and the creatures don't untap. 2 counter spells, Reject Imperfection, counter target spell, and if the spell's value was 3 or less, we get to proliferate as well. Then we get into the Planeswalkers, 2 Liliana the Veils, so we can make them sacrifice creatures or discard cards, whatever makes more sense. We've got Kaito Shizuki, so we can get a little draw card advantage maybe if we get a ninja creature out, because that ninja can't be blocked, and then we just attack once per turn and draw a card once per turn. We've got 1 Consuming Tide. If we're about to be overrun, we'll just throw everything back up into each person's hand, and we have a chance for 1 more card draw. We have Jace, the Perfected Mind, which you just saw us use to go ahead and mill to death. And we have the completed cost here, which means instead of paying 4 mana, we could pay 3. 2 generic, 1 blue, and instead of the second blue, we just pay 2 life points. So 2 copies of that. We have Tekuthal, Inquiry Dominus, the legendary Phyrexian Horror. He's a 3/5 flyer. If you would proliferate, you proliferate twice instead. Plus, we can remove 3 counters from among other artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers you control to make Inquiry Dominus indestructible. So this should be pretty easy by the time we get it down. There should be some counters to spare that we can do that. 1 copy of Sorin the Mirthless, that's all I have. Looking to create some flyers with lifelink perhaps. So there is 1 more source of lifelink there. Or just start looking through our library. 1 copy of Urtai Resurrected for a little surprise, kind of either counter spell, destroy a target creature, destroy a planeswalker. Its controller does get to draw a card, either way. And then another Kaito Dancing Shadow. This one's from Phyrexia. Legendary. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage, you may return 1 of them to its owner's hand. And then if you do, you can activate the loyalty abilities of Kaito twice this turn rather than only once. So maybe if we, have like a Thrumming Bird, we might hit it and then throw it back up into a hand. And then suddenly we can draw 2 cards instead of 1 with a 0. Or we can do +1 to a couple of different creatures to say they can't attack or block until the next turn. And his -2 ability, create a 2/2 colorless drone artifact creature token with Death Touch. When it leaves the battlefield, an opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This is another thing where you could have the drone artifact out at some point and then have it deal combat damage and have it be the one that you return to the owner's hand. We would lose the token, but we would trigger its little leaving the battlefield trigger and do a little extra life gain there. So yet another source of life gain in the deck. 1 copy of Teferi. I think I actually have 2, but I'm sticking with 1. And I'm not sure if that's the best thing to do or not. If I go to 62 cards, is that really a big deal if my 62nd card is another Teferi? I kind of like the idea, so I might have to experiment with that. But let me know in the comments what you think I should do with that. If I need to keep the deck nice and tight, or if 1 more Teferi is worth it in this kind of deck creation. But he creates the 2/2 blue spirit creature token for -2. The spirit token has vigilance, and whenever you draw a card, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So there's another thing that we could proliferate with. And for 0, you just draw a card. And then for -12, target opponent chooses a permanent they control, returns it to its owner's hand. Then every other non-land permanent they control shuffles into their library. And 2 sources of card draw, Vivisurgent's Insight to draw 3 cards, and Proliferate. So lots of Phyrexian cards, lots of proliferation cards. I tried to get a good mix of mana in here. There's 1 Field of Ruin. There's 4 waterfront districts. If we start to slow down, we can start drawing cards. We also have the draw spits to draw, and we've got 1 copy of Surgical Bay to draw, as well as 2 copies of Otawara, so maybe one of them we could use to return something to the owner's hand. To either save some of our stuff, or get rid of enemy token permanently, or something like that. So, Planeswalker Proliferant. Remember to like and subscribe. And if you find a good playlist you like, go ahead and share the playlist with a friend. I used to say, in the old days, I used to ask to share a video. And then I was thinking, you know what, I have more than just one video. I have an entire playlist full of good stuff. Maybe it would grab some of your friends more if you shared an entire playlist with them and they felt like it was worth watching. So consider that. We want more people to know what we're doing. I haven't really seen... Except for the 1 mirror match that I did, I haven't seen anything else like this out there yet, per se. I'm not coming across it in my regular play here. But it looks like I am using more Phyrexian cards, so maybe the odds of a mirror match are a lot greater, just because at least half my cards are Phyrexian cards right now, and that's the latest and greatest thing to play. Wow, they're having trouble figuring out which card. Okay, so they're blue. They're going to take a while, right? That was at the end of my turn. Okay, they do nothing. What do we have? We have counterspells, so we do nothing. And it looks like our time of doing nothing is over, because we missed a land drop already. So they've got Mind Splice Apparatus, and that's their strategy. And I am not confident now. I have not fared well against Mind Splice Apparatus, but this is a different kind of deck, so let's see what we got going on. Let's go ahead and just attack with Toxic. See if it gets through. Wow, they're thinking a long time. Let's say no. Instead. I'm okay with that. We'll submit 0 for the Proliferate effect, and they have the first poison counter. They've got 6 lands already, but they're the ones with the poison counter, not us. And I'm not getting land. And I'm getting a little irritated. Because you really can't beat a Mind Splice Apparatus deck on 4 lands. And they're doing just what everybody always does with this. They flash it in at the end of my turn. And now they have 2. And access to more mana than I could ever dream of in an entire match. And they're not missing a land drop. They made 7, and I'm stuck at 4. But they're already digging. Let's go ahead and look ourselves. I didn't say lick ourselves, I said look ourselves. Alright, Although I hate to give up the card draw, I feel like we need land more than anything else. They get another poison counter from that. Okay, what can I do? How about Thrumming Bird? They let me have it. Another March of Otherworldly Light. Let's see if this works again. It does. Didn't get the proliferation from that because they spent more than 3 on the cost to cast it. I'm out of counter spells. This is where we could start to get into trouble then. Great Sun's Twilight. Wow. And how many of those do they have in the deck? Do they have 10? Alright. If they have counter spells, we're in trouble, but let's try Consuming Tide. They usually have Syncopate. And I only have 1 Consuming Tide, so if they have Syncopate here, this is game over. They kept the Mind Splice Apparatus out instead of one of their creatures. Interesting. Yeah, they're drawing cards. That's trouble for me. That's big trouble for me. This is usually when they get to use a Silver Scrutiny this far into the match. That's usually when things get to be troublesome for me. Let's go ahead and try. I expect this to be syncopated by now. They draw nearly half their deck. They have to have the counterspell ready. And I can only do the 1 spell this turn. Devious Cover-Up, which lets them get all their other stuff back. Not cool. I forgot about Devious Cover-Up. I've been concentrating on Syncopate so much because it's got the X cost, which Mind Splice Apparatus helps out with. Yeah, there's not much left for us to do. I mean, we can try this.
I'll have this fight finished before brunch.
They're already going to destroy it. That didn't take long.
Luck favors the
But
foolish,
that's on the stack.
after all.
So we get rid of Mesmerizing
You
Dose.
won't be outsmarting me.
They just had land. Let's try Teferi now. Look at all the mana they have available. There's the Syncopate. And now I'm out of cards. We got 2 Mind Splice Apparatus back down. Do they have anything they can use to draw? Yeah, they've got 3 of those Skybridge Towers out. If they want to dig, they can. There's the other Silver Scrutiny right on time. Half their deck is drawn. And they can do whatever they want now. We just have to wait for them to decide. You'd think with this much of an advantage, you know, with 8 cards in their hand, they wouldn't go quite so slowly anymore. They haven't even used the black version of the cards for this cycle. You know they've got the Black Marches in there too. Oh, this is making for a long game, a long match no matter what, but I still have a lot of cards. Do I have a way to get them to 10 poison? If I can get Proliferation out, I can't get a Voidwing Hybrid back. But how many more Devious cover-ups do they have access to? You can't possibly be this nervous about me at this point. You've got twice as many health points as I do now. This is a pretty well put together deck. They've got the life gain there with Union of the Third Path that gives them a tiny bit of card draw as well. They've got ways to exile things, get rid of threats. They've got ways to dig back into the graveyard and get their counter spells and draw cards back. And the Silver Scrutiny is when you've got as much access to as much mana as this. Where did they go? Did they say good game because they were leaving? Did they have to go do a potty stop? Such riveting content. I'm so sorry, folks. I'm not sure how fun this deck is going to be to play if it's always going to be this slow on every match. So what they had to discard because they're not even there anymore, so they discarded the Silver Scrutiny. Well, I guess y'all can just scroll ahead. I've got to sit here. Here we go again. This seems like an easy win for them. I wonder what happened that they had to leave. Pretty sure they could have beat me on that. I feel like in order to beat that, you need to be much faster, or you need to have a lot more counter spells than I do in my deck. Or I need to have a lot more land up front than they do. And that did not happen. So how many X cards do they have? They have the white and black March cards, they have the Twilight card, they have the Silver Scrutiny. That's only 4 X cards. I guess that's all they need. And I'm already going up against more blue than I have in forever. It looks like they want to give me a whole bunch of mirror matches, doesn't it? Poison counter starts. Maybe I should put one of these into my deck. We will make that trade. We'll put our own Thrumming Bird. Let's see. How do we want to do this? No Jace.
Surrender your mind to violence.
Oh, hello.
Kill.
They were not prepared for that. Maybe they thought we had a massive mill strategy and they just weren't prepared with their deck size. Trawler Drake. Uncommon. I haven't really made an oil deck yet. I think I need a few more of these. I only have one other one of those right now, I think. We'll do one more. Well, that match didn't take a long time. I have been seeing a lot more 250 card decks in the meta. I think that's mostly because of the new Jace card. People are back to milling again as a viable strategy. There was a lull in the milling for a while. I think that was intentional by Wizards of the Coast. I have a deck out there that says I will still mill because we had Xander. And I'm like, Xander, you can mill just fine with Xander. So for people who wanted to mill, there was still plenty of a way to still keep milling. But I think Jace makes it a lot easier. Okay, I kind of need more land to do what I want to do. I want to throw something back up and then counter the spell, so that requires 5. I think we can just sort of wait and see if they pump up something too quick. I also think I need to save my Serum Snares for the big creatures that they get with their sorceries later on in the match, if we last that long. Play with fire. Throw you back up. I've got Reject Imperfection, so I'm just going to use it now. We're losing a lot of value of the Proliferate aspect of these cards, but in the interest of survival, I think it's acceptable. And I think I could do 2 of these cards at once, right? I think we can. Although Scheming Aspirant, actually both of these could die to direct damage. They are still not using Play with Fire. They are keeping that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I put that down now, maybe I can... No, that's a 1/3. So Play with Fire is not going to do it for them. But maybe we can trick out a lightning bolt or something from them. He's been holding on to this for the longest time. They don't usually hold on to this. They usually hit it straight to the face. Okay, so let's go ahead and throw this back up. And do we get to trigger the advisor here? Or do they have another burn spell they're going to use? They do Play with Fire against my face. Takes them a long time to scry. Well, they've got blue in their deck, so we could be here a while still. I figured with a a small, cheap red aggro burn deck that things might go faster, but they've still got blue. Okay. Shoot, so we didn't get the benefit of that, did we? And now they're at 5. And if they have another lightning strike, we're really in trouble. What are the odds? What are the odds? Oh, they're waiting again? Oh my goodness. If these are the type of opponents that I'm going to get just because of my deck color choice, maybe I need to just steer away from blue. It can't be that tough a choice. You only have one card and 3 mana. We'll play with the dragon and our puppet. Make the dragon jump in time with the puppet. Oh, come on. I am not going to get my 15 wins tonight. Every match is dragon. Maybe I should build some graveyard hate into here somewhere too. Well, that card doesn't help me, but Liliana does.
A fight? And you think you can win? Sacrifices must be
Did
made.
we lose our opponent? What is going on tonight? Am I the only one that's maintaining a good connection to the server? I'm not going that slowly. It's not like they got bored and got up and left. You know, they signed up to play the game. They logged on. They missed an attack for 5 points of damage too, so something happened in real life, I think. This is a little unusual. Okay, let's bring down the Aspirant again. Let's just pass the turn, see if they have returned. I was hoping to get Luxior out one more time and equip it on the Planeswalkers and swing in. But it's not looking like it. Okay, so what we'll do is I will just wait. If they don't show back up, we'll just take the win and then I'll go in and show you the deck one more time. So again, I have to apologize. I do not have the time to edit. I have time to actually play the game and record while I'm playing. The one benefit of this is that you guys know for sure this is real, and then I'm not picking and choosing, I'm not cherry picking my battles. But oh man, oh man, oh man, this is slow torture for me. I'm here to play. It's hard to really test out the deck under these conditions. I mean, I can always go to Sparky. At least Sparky will actually play with me. Okay, let's go in and show you the deck one more time. I think that's basically my time for the night. Planeswalker Proliferant. Although the enemy can get a slow on life, there's a ton of decks that I make where the enemy gets a slow on life, and we're down to just like somewhere between 1 to 5 life points, and then there's a corner that turns and we manage to take control. And from then on, we're doing pretty good. And now our server's not working. I wonder if there's network error. Maybe that's what's going on. So it's finally spreading to me too. Okay, so I guess we're not going to show you the deck again. Alright, so go back to the beginning, see the deck tech, take a look at the cards. Understand, I only have one copy of Luxior right now. So, but it's a very valuable tool if we can keep it on the battlefield. What do you think of the Planeswalkers and the Proliferation together and focusing on that as a strategy? Let me know, and let me know if you think I should put that extra Teferi Planeswalker in there, and if you think it's just fine having the Reckoner in there. The Reckoner Bankbuster is my card number 61. And I guess we'll just leave it there. Thanks everybody, have a good one.